quick flashback. You won't remember because you probably played hundreds of shows since then. But last time I saw your band was in DC when I did nights for DC 101, the Kerfuffle.
Oh yeah,
Guys,
played, yeah,
just crushed it at Merriweather, outdoor venue. Same owner as
yeah.
30 Club.
That was the one. What that was the one a few years ago.
Yeah, maybe
So
3.
was it a Fall Out Boy and AWOL Nation maybe, or was it
Yep,
AWOL or?
it was
Yeah.
AWOL.
Okay. Yeah. I totally remember that show. Yeah, I had a good time. I remember I brought my daughter to that show too, so we had a little weekend trip and got to hang out. And I grew up with the Fall Out Boy guys too, so like those guys are buddies of mine. So it was cool to connect with them.
That's cool because it's like being in a band, as long as you have being in the music business, not just a band.
Mhm.
It's cool to hear that you're friends with other bands, but guess what? It's like when you play the festivals, when you have an open day and maybe you're going to one of your favorite band shows or some guys that it's cool, some like camaraderie. And I don't necessarily think about it like that, but you're human beings, you like social interaction. And when you see a friend, let's have some fun, man.
Yeah, especially friends like those guys, because we grew up in this really small punk scene where we were all playing for 20 people and we were all in hardcore bands. I played bass in a band with Pete Wentz where he was like the singer, and we would play like Krishna halls and Knights of Columbus halls and basements of churches. So like I don't know if either one of us saw the future and that we would one day be the big kerfuffle or whatever, or that his band would like take off into like astronomical levels. Pete probably did see that. He probably had that whole thing planned out the whole time. I did not see it though.
I like hearing you say that because I don't know, I'm sensing a little humility from you, which is such an awesome trait. If we're talking about singles on the radio from a punk band, you guys have had a ton of them. And I know that certainly is not the absolute measure of success, because I'm a fan of success because it comes in so many different forms. Money to me isn't even the number one ranker of success.
Mm-hmm.
Your fan base, of which I am made, cut from that cloth, just appreciates the way that you guys have kind of stuck to your roots, and yet you found a way to kind of don't take this the wrong way, maybe slither your songs onto the radio while still championing those causes that have been with you guys from the beginning. And I just like that. I don't know if there's really a question there, more of just kind of an observation, dude.
No, I think you're right. I've always seen Rise Against, especially with the message of Rise Against, as a little bit of like a Trojan horse in the mainstream, and a little bit of like a sugar-coated bitter pill, that we're trying to get you to take.
I've taken some of those.
There you go. So I definitely identify with the way you characterized it, like it, and to come from like humble beginnings and to create a punk band that we weren't very careerist. We didn't anticipate, nor were we really trying to have it snowball into what it snowballed into. But what we didn't account for was a really hungry audience, desperate for someone to sing about the things we were singing about. And that's when the light bulb went off for me. It was like, oh, more people care about this stuff than I thought we're going to care about this.
Yeah. So fast forward to 2021 and, Nowhere Generation and a song of the same name, which is just, I hate, it's funny. I say that I hate this analogy, but I use it all the time. Nowhere Generation is just checking box after box after box. The record will be out first week of June. And it's like, you guys have a song that I'm in Chicago right now. That's the Rattler.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago too, so I feel you.
Logan Square, dude.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's been a shitty day, huh?
It has.
Yeah.
But I hear Nowhere Generation, and I'm like, what an interesting song that is. And when I say interesting, your voice is just like hearing just such like a familiar friend. The guitar riff is so sick. Those drums are signature Rise Against, and the message is so up to date. I'm not the biggest fan of asking about your inspiration, but didn't it come from one of your family members or your daughter? Aren't you kind of thinking about her future with this song?
Yeah, it was a combination of things. Certainly having kids um and makes you look at the future a little bit differently. It definitely makes you reflect on the way you grew up. If it was a way, if you grew up in a way that, you know, you had a good time and you felt like it worked for you, then you're trying to recreate that for your kids. If you
Mhm.
grew up in a way that wasn't good, then you're trying to find something new for your kids so they don't have to grow up the same way, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And with this generation that I was kind of learning, not just from my own kids but also from the younger people that listen to Rise Against, people in our front rows, the people in our audiences, I think I found myself listening to their anxieties and kind of complaints about the world around them and how they always felt like they were swimming upstream against this like insurmountable current. And I found myself giving them advice, but I realized that my advice was kind of dated. It kind of came from a different time. It didn't necessarily apply to the changing landscape of today,
Yeah.
because that we've all had to swim upstream and go into a headwind to succeed. But I think, and what the song's about, is there's something new about this stream and something new about this headwind, because these streams and these headwinds, they're creating the rise of the 1%. They're creating concentrated wealth, um, the decay of the middle class. People are having to deal with climate change and our response to, or lack of response to. All of that is feeding into the weight that people are feeling when they wake up every morning. And that stuff is new. That stuff is kind of these new and improved obstacles that we put in the way of young people today. And I feel like they need to be treated like they're new, because they are. And we need to gauge people's response and reaction, not with like, hey, just walk it off,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. You just
Yeah. Yeah.
pull yourself up by your bootstraps and put your nose to the grind. We gotta stop treating it like that and start acknowledging that what people are dealing with is new. It's different. There's a different environment that we're living in today that is designed to kind of keep things very stagnant.
Are you comfortable in your own skin as far as your beliefs, your stances, your takes politically, religiously? I love the fact that you guys have been champions for animals. This sounds cheesy as hell. It's giving me goosebumps to think about that, because you don't just talk about it, you sing about it, and you live your life about it. I reflect back on that band shoe back in the day. I
All right.
just appreciate you guys doing that. Has that always been something with you and your ideals, or maybe with your upbringing, that when you got into a band, you knew that that was going to be something that you hold your fist up for?
Yeah, I, especially coming from like the Chicago punk and hardcore scene in like the mid '90s, I feel like a lot of concepts were introduced to me via music.
Okay.
Concepts like environmentalism,
Yeah.
you know, the sweatshop labor,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, and you know, animal rights, all came to me via the avenue of music, and they turned on all these light bulbs for me and just really blew my mind. And so that to me was the trigger that made me really interested in music as a vehicle for change, because music was something that was always kind of passively in my life. But when I saw bands, musicians harness it
Yeah, dude.
for good,
Yeah.
that gave me goosebumps. That's kind of like, I was like, this is powerful and I want to be a part of it. And if I ever get on that stage, I want to be the next in line here. I want to be passing this torch to the next generation. And so that's kind of a lot of what Rise Against does.
I love that. I've seen it. I've heard it in your music. I see it on, whether it's interviews like this, whether you're on stage, and the talk you talk between songs, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
I just appreciate you saying that. One thing I always find it interesting, especially it's so damn easy with social media, is where people will either say to musicians like yourself or an athlete, yo, just make the music and shut up, or
Mm-hmm.
stay on that football field and play, just play the game. And it's like, you know what? You pay taxes, you have a family, you have a life that may be equal to, if not more flourishing outside of the band. Why wouldn't you be able to speak up on that? And it drives me nuts, you know?
Yeah, I think I'm physically unable to check my opinion at the door. Like I can't do it. I won't
Yeah.
do it. I have no interest in doing it. And it's certainly not why I stepped in the door in the first
Yeah.
place. And I don't think athletes should have to check their opinion at the door either. You know, I think that art and artists and culture, like culture listens to artists in a way that we don't listen to anything else, you know?
Yes.
Um, and so it's a really potent avenue for a message, you know? And so, yes, that message is going to ruffle feathers. You know, you're going to find an audience that's not quite ready for it and just like came to a concert for a good time and isn't interested in having their preconceptions challenged, you know, or go to a football game and they're like, I just want to watch football. Why do I have to watch this? But it's about respecting people as human beings, and respecting them for what they've chosen to do with the spotlight. You know, if someone gave you a microphone or gave you a spotlight, what would you do with it? What's most important to you? Are there things more important than simply selling records and selling tickets, you know what I mean, or playing a football game? And if that's more important to you, then good on you.
I think you've succeeded with this first cut, man. Nowhere Generation, which I appreciate the partnership the band has had with iHeartRadio. We're blasting this as our world premiere all day long on all of our rock and roll stations.
That's awesome.
Let's talk quickly, and we'll wrap this up, about the record itself. Was it weird? How long has this record been done?
Oh, way too long. So I'm so happy.
You know why I'm asking? Because of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I've listened to this record a lot over the last like year, and it's crazy to me how there's like a patina to it. Like there's things that I wrote before the pandemic and even before like the resurgence of Black Lives Matter, activist culture in this country. And it sounds like I wrote them during the middle of it. But a lot of it was kind of done even before that was happening. I think that speaks to Rise Against. We've tried not to just sing about like the symptoms of a disease, but we try to sing about like the underlying causes behind it. So instead of talking just about one specific president or one specific riot or one specific thing happening in the environment, it's talking about sort of the underlying roots behind those, why those things happened in the first place, because those things have been around before this president, the last president, the president before that, and they're probably going to be around after this. It's like these ideologies that we have to kind of always shed some, put a little sunlight on. And so that's what Rise Against is trying to do, is like put a little sunlight, a little disinfectant on these ideologies that keep on rearing their ugly heads and end up hurting people in this country and all over the world.
You know, it's a generation. I mean, many of these issues are generational. They're not, you're not going to just pump the brakes on it overnight. It takes years. Mm-hmm. But if you're shining that light, like you're talking about, song after song, record after record, every tour, every interview, if you're just putting a little ding in that, I believe that makes an impact. I really do believe that makes an impact, and right on you guys for doing it, dude.
I think you're right. I agree with you. Music has that power. Music tells stories. Stories cut through the noise.
Yes, they do.
More than anything else does. And so artists, if they are feeling that, they should take it upon themselves to communicate with a fan base.
Dude, June 4th. How many songs are we getting on the new record? And when can we see you play that damn record start to finish?
Oh my gosh. Not soon enough. I want to do it right now, you know. Obviously, we are all chomping at the bit to get out there. We're starting to talk about bringing these songs to life. So there is some good news on the horizon. It's all still preliminary.
Yeah.
I think we got 11 songs on this record. So June 4th, people will be able to hear all of them. And we can't wait. I think it really speaks to this moment in a way that I'm really proud of.
My final question for Tim from Rise Against, the song Nowhere Generation, did you write that yourself?
Yes.
Did you write it with the band, or were you at the house in the basement? Were you in the car taking audio notes on your phone? Where did that come from?
That one specifically was me in my basement, I would say. That one specifically, yeah.
It's like a guitar or a piano?
Yep, just a guitar, just banging those chords out. And I really liked the way it was going. And then those words kind of just fell out of me, and the rest of the song just kind of wrote itself.
Let's buy it. June 4th. Rise Against, dude. I can't wait to see you guys. This has been just pretty cool to catch up just for a quick visit, man. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks for the support. Thanks to all of our fans out there listening. You know, we can't wait to see everybody again, and hope they dig the new music.